Wondering if you should buy a franchise or wondering if you should just start your own business? Well, I've got experience in both and I'm going to share my thoughts with you. G'day, Ben here, co-founder of Maximize Profit. And we're all about helping you build the business you imagine. Now, you're watching this video because you're probably asking yourself the question, should I buy a franchise or should I just go out on my own? Now, myself, I've got experience in both. I've been part of an international franchise that was in many, many different countries and had 1,200 franchisees. And I've also had my own businesses as well. And so I've got lots of experience and I'm going to run through some of the pros of each for you so you can make the decision for yourself. Now, if you've never owned a business before, buying a franchise could be the right thing for you. I can't tell you the amount of people I've seen over the years that have started their own business and have failed because they haven't got a clue as to what it is they're doing. Now, I'm not saying that you won't have a clue, but when it comes to running a business, that's the reality, right? So many people are good at what they do. They're passionate about what it is they're going to go into, but they don't really understand the fundamentals of running a good, solid, profitable business. So I recommend a lot of people, if they're not savvy when it comes to running a business, that maybe they should buy a franchise because they're going to get an apprenticeship in running a business by buying a franchise. They're going to get plugged into a network of people that already understand how to build business, and you're also going to be surrounded by other people that are on the same journey. So if you want to do an apprenticeship and you want to learn about building a business, then buying a franchise could be the right decision for you. Now, the next reason you might want to buy a franchise, and what I think is one of the biggest pros, it depends on the franchise though, because some franchises you're just buying a job, but however, some franchises let you buy the franchise and then not work in them. So it can be a great investment strategy. So if you're going to buy one of these franchises, then it's likelihood that you'll have a lot of support inside those networks, and it'll make it easier for you not to have to be there on a day-to-day basis. So if you think about buying a business as an investment, a franchise could be the right solution depending on the franchise. Like I said, some of those franchises are just buying a job and they may even stipulate that you must work in the business. But I do know there are several franchises where you can buy the franchise and never have to go to work. Somebody else runs it for you and all you do is stump up with the money and then make sure you manage the business. So you work on rather than in. Now, the next good thing about a franchise is typically all the marketing and branding is done for you. Now, it's quite a big job, and I think it overwhelms a lot of people. And if you look at why a lot of businesses fail, it's because people aren't great with the marketing side. If you're good at delivery, that's fine, but it's no good being great at what you do if you don't have any customers. And so a lot of franchises will have marketing systems already in place that have been tested and are working, and it's one of the most expensive and riskiest areas inside a business is learning how to market and generate leads for yourself. So if you're not good at marketing, if you're not confident with marketing, and you've got no idea where to start looking for customers, then a franchise might be the way to go. Now, the next thing to think about is the fact that if you buy a franchise, it's probably, well, should be already systemized, which means that you don't need to come up with all the systems to operate the business efficiently and effectively. Somebody's already done that hard work for you, and it would have typically been developed as well over time. As the franchise grows, typically they would spend more and more time investing in creating better systems to help you become more efficient and more profitable. Remember, the franchisor, they sell their franchises or more franchises by having more successful franchisees. So the better they can make their systems, the more efficient they can make them, the more profitable their franchisees can be, the more franchises they're going to sell. So typically a franchise will be well systemized. You won't have to put all that effort in, and it is a very time consuming and overwhelming task to systemize a business. So if you just want to get it going and shortcut that process, then a franchise could be the answer. Now, the next pro that I've got for buying a franchise is one that a lot of people don't think about, and that is the reselling of your business when you're done. Now, when you go into business, quite often you don't think about your exit strategy, but I want you to think about that right now, is if you're going into this with the vision of being able to sell it, a franchise can be easy to sell. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one is they have a ready-made market quite often of buyers. So they might have people that are looking to buy a franchise, and rather than starting from ground zero, they'd rather buy an existing franchise that's already been built up so they don't have to worry about going through those hard yards. And that means that it's a bit easier to sell. The other thing is that quite often is that when you when people are looking for a business, they'll be more likely to buy something that is already a known brand, the marketing's already working, and it has a bit of history behind it. And a lot of franchises have a really good name and a really good brand in the marketplace, and you just need to do your own research to work out if that is a big enough benefit. But certainly think about, when it comes time to exit, is it going to be easy for me to sell my business? Selling a business that is not connected to a group is a little bit harder because it's an unknown and people may not feel as comfortable with it. So it's something that you could consider if you're thinking about starting or buying a franchise. Now that leads me to the next thing, which is financing your purchase. Now, quite often when buying a business, it can be a little bit tricky to buy a business with finance, but a lot of franchisors have already gone to the banks and got a relationship where they've been able to pre-approve their franchise. It's been one of the approved franchises with that financial institution to lend up to a certain percentage to buy. And that means it makes your life a little bit easier when it comes to purchasing. So if you are thinking about how you're going to come up with the money to buy your new business or start your new business, a franchise could be the answer, because the franchise, not all franchisors do this, by the way, but a lot of them have been approved by their financial institutions to be able to lend up to a certain percentage. So I would be asking that question. The second thing when it comes to financing your purchase is a lot of franchisors will vendor finance part of your franchise. And what that means is that you might be able to borrow some from the bank, and you might also be able to borrow some from the franchisor themselves, and they'll let you pay it off over time out of your revenue. And this can be a great benefit to you as well. Once again, starting a business from scratch, no one is going to probably bankroll you in that way, but with a proven system that the banks know works, because there might already be 100 franchisees that are successful, they're more than likely going to give you the money, or more willingly going to give you the money. Now, the final pro that I think for a franchise that is a really big upside a lot of people don't think about is what I call the 4-minute mile rule. Now, you've probably heard about the 4-minute mile, that once, it took a long time for somebody to break it, but once a runner broke that record, a lot of runners started breaking the record. And the same thing happens inside a successful franchise group. So what happens is that the more successful franchisees get highlighted every month, whether it's some sort of awards or regular meetings, or it might be reports that get sent out through all the franchisees, and that will show you what is possible. And just knowing that it's possible will actually make you more likely to hit those numbers yourself. Okay, so it's what I call the 4-minute mile rule. If you know somebody else can do it, then you know it's probably possible for you too, which is a huge benefit of being part of a franchise network. Now, there's no doubt that there's some of the upsides of running a franchise, but there's also an upside of having your own business and starting from scratch. And we're going to have a look at those now, because yes, franchising, I think I'm a big fan of franchising. And in fact, we are franchised ourselves. So if you're looking at becoming a business coach or getting into the business training industry, hit us up and we'll talk to you about what our franchise offers. But what I want to do is talk to you about what are some of the pros of starting your own business, because whilst there's a lot of upsides to franchise, it's not for everybody. And you need to be really clear about why that is and what the alternative looks like. Now, one of the big ones for starting your own business, it means that you don't have any franchise fees. It doesn't matter what franchise group you go to, they're all going to be making their money out of selling you the franchise up front at some level, and then ongoing fees of some sort. And it could be a percentage of your revenue, it could be a fixed fee, and that could be a makeup of different types of things like marketing fees, royalty fees, and ongoing service fees. It's entirely up to each franchise to decide exactly what they look like, but you will be paying some ongoing fees. Now, when you have your own business, you may feel like you're not paying any fees, but you are still going to have to pay money for systems and processes that you probably are getting included as part of your franchise. So you do need to contemplate that as you go through this decision-making process. But certainly, you won't be forced to pay fees on a monthly basis. Now, most franchisors, if you don't pay your fees, will breach your agreement, and that could be detrimental to your success. So you need to make sure you go in with eyes wide open when it comes to the fees that you might pay. Now, the second big benefit of starting from scratch is that you don't have any restrictions geographically. Now, when you buy a franchise, typically they're going to restrict your trading zone or an area where you can sell your services or products, because they need to keep their options open, or their opportunity open, to be able to sell more franchises. And so what they do is they limit you geographically. So you might get an area, might be a postcode, might be a city, might be a state, but you're going to be restricted by area, and it might be a marketing restriction or it might be a trading restriction. And so you've got to be really clear about that. Now, when you start on your own, well, then you don't have those restrictions. In fact, you can trade anywhere you like. No one is ever going to stop you, as long as it's legal, of course, and you've got all the relevant things in place to be able to trade in that area from a tax point of view or from a government point of view. But you can do what you like. There's no restrictions from somebody saying, no, you don't own that territory. As we're in a franchise, if you decide to start in another area, you'll have to pay for another franchise. You'll have to buy that territory, which is typically what happens. And it's not unusual in a franchise to be able to buy multiples. So don't think for a minute that you can't do it, but it will mean that you're going to have to invest more money buying more franchises and then increase the amount of fees that you pay. Now, the next big one for me that I think is a pro of owning your own business is that you can do what you like. So long as it's legal and you're not breaking any laws, you can develop any products or services that you like. Imagine you owned a franchise that was a hamburger shop, and a very popular one, and you decided that you wanted to not sell the double beef burger that they created, and you wanted to make your own one up. Well, the likelihood is they're not going to be very happy about that. Or decided that you didn't like yellow and you wanted to paint your shop blue, they're probably not going to be very happy about that, right? So when you're in a franchise, you are limited to what you can sell and offer, even with the pricing based on the franchisor's stipulated terms and conditions in the contract. When you own your own business, you can do whatever you like. If you decide you want to try something new, a different product, you want to have add-on sales, you can start to increase the things that you offer to your client base at will. So long as it's legal, you can do whatever you like, which I think is a huge benefit. Now, the next big pro of starting your own business is you're going to be building your own passion, your own vision. Now, you think about it, when you join a franchise, you're actually building somebody else's dream. And that's because somebody got up one morning and said, I'm going to build this amazing business, and that what I need to do is recruit franchisees to do it. So you're helping them build their dream. Now, it still might be good. You might enjoy it. You might still be passionate about it. But at the end of the day, you are in somebody else's goal sheet. You're building their dreams, not your own dreams. So when you decide to start your own business, you're really focused on your own thing, your own passion, your own goals, your own purpose, your own vision. And if that's really important to you, then a franchise probably is not going to be the right fit for you, and you should seriously consider starting your own business. Like I said, if you don't have business experience, though, be very, very careful doing that, because it may be better for you to go and do a little apprenticeship first and then go and pursue whatever your great passion is. But if you've got a vision and a passion to do something and you don't want to be held back, then I suggest you start your own business. Now, having said that, maybe your vision or goal is to franchise your own business. Well, you can't franchise as a franchisee, can you? So if you did think that sometime in the future you would have something that was good enough that other people could buy into and run their own business, like a division of your business or as a franchisee, then buying a franchise is going to limit you from being able to do that. So I would strongly suggest that if that is your long-term goal, that you start your own business and you start developing systems and processes so you can franchise. It's one of the benefits of owning your own business is that you can franchise if you want to. You don't have to, but if that's something that you decided to do as your business growth strategy, then that's available to you. If you're inside somebody else's franchise, obviously they're not going to let you franchise their franchise. They're going to let you buy more of their franchise, but that's about it. Now, the next big pro of starting your own business is you get to run your own race. There won't be any pressure from the franchisor. Now, sometimes that can be something that is good, right? Getting pressure from an outside source, holding you accountable, making you do what it is you said you're going to do could be a great thing. However, for some of you, maybe you just want to take it cruisy. Nothing wrong with that. Entirely up to you. This is your plan. So if you've decided you want to start a business because you want to chill out a bit, you want to relax a bit, you want a better lifestyle, then you probably should start your own business, because then no one's going to be there driving you to hit certain numbers. Especially if a franchise relies on a percentage of your revenue, then they're probably going to be driving you to get to a certain point. The other thing is, no franchisor wants to have franchisees that aren't performing, because that limits their ability to be able to sell. They want all their franchisees to be doing really well. So when people inquire about buying a franchise, they have all these great, amazing examples. So you will find that once you're in a franchise, there will be a pressure on you to perform. And if you're not up for that, then start your own business. Now, the final thing I'll say about starting your own business, and this is maybe a pro, maybe not, is that you can start your own business with little or no money in a lot of cases, depending on what it is you're going into. So you won't have any upfront fees, you won't have any ongoing fees, so you won't have to worry about having that money set aside to be able to purchase the franchise and then be able to pay the ongoing fees as you build your business. And that is, there's been plenty of businesses that have been start from nothing, and they then slowly grow organically off of the revenue by reinvesting the profits of the company into growth. And you can do that. In a franchise, a little bit harder. You need to raise the capital in the beginning to be able to buy the franchise, and you're paying for the work that's already been done. So long term, it'll probably cost you the same, if not more, to start your own business, because you still have to invest your time and your money in developing the systems, the marketing, the brand, the team, all of those things that are already done for you. So you really need to decide which avenue is going to be best for you. Anyway, there you go. There's some key differences between the two. Hopefully that's helped you decide which way to go. Do you go to franchise? Do you start your own business? The choice is yours. Either way, I think you're going to do amazing. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, have a profitable day. See ya.